couple of minutes.
Absolutely. Oh, and recording has started.
Good, I was just gonna say, it's not to talk to you at all. Good, yourself?
Good, I'm glad you're here.
It's good to get out of the office.
Yes. After the meeting.
Sure. Yep.
Not the whole thing, sorry. I'll try. Oh, let's see. The person who called in on the number starting with 404, could you let us know who you are, please?
Hi, that's the court reporter's backup.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, are you ready to get started?
I am.
Okay.
Ready whenever you guys are.
So let's call the meeting to order. If you'd like roll call, please.
Absolutely. Okay. So we'll do roll call just for advisory council members. Please say here. Can I read your name? Mike Bobbitt. David Hahn Baker. Michael Martin. Andrea Ogunwomi.
Here.
Maurice Reed. Miguel Santos. Alan Jones.
Here.
Laura Rossman.
Here.
Dennis Wilson. Tina Zerbian.
Here.
Dan Maskin. Charles Quinn. Eve Phyllis.
This is, I just want to make a note. This is Dennis. I am here, but I'm virtual, so I don't count, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
Dennis, I'm not sure I would phrase it that way, but I'm glad you're on.
Okay, thank you.
So we do not have a quorum, is that correct?
Correct.
Well, we'll have the meeting informally, and I want to welcome everyone to the CSBG Advisory Council meeting. I am Tina Zerbian. I'm the CEO with Connecting Communities in Action. We serve Cattaraugus County. I am the first vice president of the CSBG Advisory Council. So in Dennis's, virtual absence, I'm leading the meeting today. So welcome, everyone. We cannot approve the minutes that are in your packet. We do have minutes from February of 22, May of 22, and March of 23, but unfortunately we cannot approve those minutes today. So we'll move along to updates, and first on our agenda is Manny Rosa.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be for the council meeting. As promised, we wanted to bring to the council updates regarding various projects that we are involved with, most notably the state plan. Again, thank you to everyone who either participated in the public hearing on July 13th, either by sending in testimony or in person. We really appreciate the contribution, input, and I just want to use this time to address some of the issues that did come up as a result of it. So, Vicky Ballastoni and I, there's someone that needs to do something. Nikki Ballastoni and I will go over a PowerPoint, basically following up on the on where we're at with the state plan, where we are with the STAR, which is the replacement for the tracks, and other questions that may have come up as a result of the hearing and/or testimony. So again, thanks to everybody who did attend or did participate. So if we can get to the PowerPoint, that would be helpful. Whoever's putting it up.
Last Matt.
Matt? I think everybody has a copy of it in their packets, yes?
Yes.
I'll start, and then if Matt can bring it up, we'll just follow the slides. Basically, what we want to do with this power presentation is you can see some general updates, including the state plan. Let me just get into that as we are speaking. One of the issues that came up in the presentation, either the testimony in person or in writing, was the issue of the database. So I want to clarify where we're at in terms of the database and what we hope to accomplish moving forward. As you recall, earlier this year, we started implementing a database system with community software, and it's for, again, off-the-shelf, general use, uploading certain documents, hopefully at some point being able to use the database for the annual report and for.
What? What's that?
Okay, all right. So this is basically, again, I want to make this very clear to everybody. This was our initial attempt at implementing a database. It was to try to address what we had hoped to start under the 22-23 work plan. Moving forward, we will be doing, by necessity, we have to put together a request for proposals as the contract for the current database system is set to expire sometime at the end, I think sometime in 24. So our plan is to take into account the experience that we have now, but also working with the network and hopefully people who have IT experience in various agencies. Put together the RFP that will then be sent out to see what kind of response we can get to truly implement a more, I don't want to say permanent, but a database that will be with us for a little longer than the 18 months that we've been using the current system for. So the next step basically is the development of the state plan, the state RFP rather. We're going to ask, again, as in the past, we'll ask Jackie and the network for your input based also on the experience or lack thereof with the current system, and then exactly what it is that you need either in terms of integration or what would be good utilitarian use of the database. So we're not where we want to be, and we're headed to hopefully a better place, but that will take place with hopefully your help and your input. And again, I'm specifically recommending that when we do have the input from the network, that if we can get individuals from the agencies that have the IT experience that are working within your systems, that might be helpful in terms of development of the RFP. With reference to the use of discretionary funds, I always go back to my very first meeting with the network that took place in downtown Albany, now 5 years ago. We have been, you can get to the, I guess we don't have it. If you look at, we have a specific slide here for 2020 through 2023 in the amount of money that has been actually given to the network in discretionary funds. I know that there is constant discussion about use of discretionary funds. We have had several projects, thanks to the network, that I think have been very helpful and beneficial to the network and to the people that we're serving. Specifically, in the past, Action Angels, where we were doing voluntary work, the Fatherhood Initiative, a SHIELD project, again, working with families in terms of the entry, and also the ACSI that has been training people on trauma-informed care. Those are the kind of projects that we think are very beneficial, in addition to the amount of money that we gave prior to COVID, the CARES money that we gave to the network to address COVID, and then in the past, monies that we have provided for technical assistance, for IT, for school, back to school supplies, and now the financial literacy and migrant assistance. We recently just gave an award also to CAO in response to the TOPS tragedy that took place a year ago, a specific grant for that. We're giving grants for technical assistance, either in fiscal needs or emergency flooding to agencies, and of course the amount of money that we give to NISCA every year, which is standard in our state plan. So our commitment to the state association is also marked through the discretionary funds. I also want to make clear that the money that is also given to tribal organizations also comes from discretionary funds. So we'll continue to work with the network on how to use the discretionary funds. It's not that we want to be deaf to your suggestions. I think if we're looking at a fatherhood initiative to build off of what we did last year, and perhaps more voluntary work as well. So we welcome the discussion. I don't want to cut it off. I think it's important that we do look at how best to use the discretionary funds to benefit the communities that we're trying to serve. But I just wanted to share how much money we have spent with the agencies. The financial literacy, in particular, for example, that we just did the $1.1 million, 700,000 of that 1.1 are going to CAA agencies. So we're working on those contracts at this point. I'm going to ask Nikki to discuss the discussion on the changes to monitoring. Again, thanking NISCA and the network for your input, your constant work on the state plan, on monitoring, and on the STAR. So Nikki?
Yep, sure. So before I get started, I just want to acknowledge for the record that I see Mike Bobbitt has joined and Charles Quinn for attendance purposes. I believe we still do not have a quorum though. Okay. So as Manny said, going through some of the state plan updates, he talked about the database and some of the discretionary funds. We heard support to continue funding NISCA, and that'll continue to stay in the state plan. State linkages, you'll see that in section, I believe, 10, that again, DOS is making the attempt to reach out to other state divisions, inform those linkages for the network. And then I'll be touching on the changes for the monitoring framework, specifically the STAR. Before I move forward, are there any other comments that want to be recorded for the record in changing the state plan? All right, hearing none, I'll just move forward. Again, you're always able to email me individually if you have any thoughts after this meeting. But to give a little perspective and background for our thought towards our monitoring framework. So Section 678B of the CSBG Act requires a full on-site review at least every 3 years. Historically, DCS and DOS have done that through a TRACS, which is a triennial review and accountability for compliance and standards. DCS received some results from the ACSI back in 2021, and Manny and I have held several one-on-ones across the network with all of the executive directors, and the specificity of those conversations was, what can DCS do better? And so we heard to reduce administrative burdens and to reduce the redundancies of what our office is doing, while trying to streamline more of our processes. And so I think over the past 2 years, our office has really tried to do that. In doing that, We have reached out to NISCA several times to form some work groups. It initially started with the tracks work group, I believe back in 21. Their sole task was to look at the tracks and reduce the redundancies and some of the questions that were repetitive on the tool. That work group gave us their information, their product, their feedback. We brought it to our internal review process. From that process, we were explained that this is a great start, but it's still not comprehensive enough of covering all the things that we should be monitoring for. And so that sparked another work group that we reached out to Jackie and NISCA for to look at our monitoring framework as an overall comprehensive, framework. And it also filtered over into the state plan work group, who reviewed every aspect of for the eligible entities for the state plan. So DCS realized the need to restructure our overall monitoring framework. We determined the purpose of our monitoring, the overall approach to monitoring, and we wanted to make sure that we were reviewing for compliance with federal and state contracting. So again, that's just a little bit of the background. The direction we're headed is, again, the introduction of the STAR through some of the regional meetings. We touched on the STAR as it's the state triennial assessment review. We envision that to replace the tracks. Again, historically, our community action agencies were required 4 visits a year from our office, and that was just on the program side. There may have been additional visits based on your fiscal monitoring. Since Manny has been here as the director, and in 2020, we moved to an annual risk assessment, which allowed us to determine the number of visits. So based on that risk assessment, did a performing agency need really us to visit them 4 times? Again, seeing that we could reduce the amount of redundancy and streamline some of our processes. So the range for visits went from 4 possibly down to 2, just based on the risk assessment. And now where we're looking at is having the STAR tool be a 3-year risk assessment, and the focus is providing training and technical assistance based on that 3-year cycle, and any of the areas that are not met through that document. So again, the STAR, we're looking at it being a 3-year assessment focused on training and technical assistance. This will give DOS further opportunity to support the community action agencies with reaching areas of compliance. Once the STAR is approved, DOS will utilize the database to conduct the assessments, and a TAP, or a training and technical assistance plan, will be developed for any areas that are not met on that document. Going to the next slide, just pointing out that the STAR is currently still in draft. It is in-house with DCS, DOS, and Fiscal. We're currently working to finalize. But what you'll see, and I'll share some of the slides in the later in the presentation of what you'll actually get and some of the differences. So we're focused on national and state standards. The first 9 categories come straight from the CSBG National Organizational Standards. Those are the 58 standards for community action agencies across the country. Our state standards will start at category 10, and they'll go beyond. You'll see category 10, 11, 12, where again, it's in draft form. So right now we're currently at, I believe, category 16. There potentially could be other categories. That's why it says and beyond. And those are specific to your state standards and your contracting requirements. If we flip to the next slide, this is some examples. So what we've done with the STAR, and this came out of the tracks work group and the monitoring work group, is tying everything compliance, everything that we are monitoring for towards compliance. Where does that come from? What standard, what regulation, what law is that derived from? So here you'll see an example of like standard 10.1, Directors of the tripartite board are selected and elected in accordance with the organization bylaws or written policy. So sources, where is this going to come from? IM 82, question number 2. And you'll see the other sources listed under there. And then the other thing that we've also tried to tie every category or standard to is some type of guidance. So what is it that DOS is looking for when we're looking for our eligible entities to meet this standard? You'll see a full board vote to elect a new director or re-elect a director whose term has ended should be captured within the board meeting minutes. And then you'll see a box under, which is similar to our tracks, but just for us to internally check what documentation was provided. So that's a sample of what it will look like. Going to the next slide, some areas of change or areas of focus. Tripartite composition and seated according to your bylaws. Did the board receive training that has been consistent with IM 82? Annual board meeting in compliance with the nonprofit consolidation law? Yeah, I think, did I say that wrong? Nonprofit corporation law. Yep, see, I'm still learning. 519A specifically says to review the financial reports in the annual budget. Board reviews organization annual budget, line of credit, and current information on program budgets. Is the eligible entity's conflict of interest in compliance with Nonprofit Corporation Law 715A or Article 18 of the New York State General Municipal Law for public entities? Is there a written process to determine CSBG income eligibility, and does the agency make referrals to child support agencies? On the next slide, some things that were still in draft form as well. Has steps been taken to ensure access to their programs and activities for language limited proficient persons? Promotion of racial equity. Has a designated employee to coordinate to comply with the ADA, has a sexual harassment prevention and policy and provides annual training, has a record retention policy consistent with the New York State contracting requirements, and includes federally funded disclaimer language in various documents. And the final slide, and it's just really an expression of DOS's commitment that we intend to revise the language in the draft 24-25 state plan to reflect the introduction of the STAR. DOS will solicit input from the network and provide training and technical assistance to support the network with the transition of the STAR. And we always value our partnerships with every eligible entity and NISCA, who is our state association. I know I went over that really fast. This is a very broad overview, but as we said, we're committed to helping with this transition. And with that, I will turn it back over to Manny.
Okay. Thank you, Nikki. Again, overarching principle here, and this came up during the regional meetings, and I thank NISCA and Jackie and the team for what were very successful regional meetings around the state. The overarching principle and guidance that we're trying to do here is not gotcha. If we're going to emphasize the partnership between the agencies and our office, is to make sure that we are working with you to make sure that you get 100 on the scores, and if not, to work with you so that you can get there and give you the technical assistance and work with you and work with your staffs to make sure that we are where we need to be. The ultimate beneficiary of these reviews is not DOS, not even the agencies, really the people that we're trying to serve. The idea is not to be in your face all the time. So going back to what Nikki was saying about my thoughts, and I've said this ad nauseum, so forgive the redundancy. No one to this day could explain to me why we were going to the agencies 4 times a year. It just didn't make any sense. We also understand that there are some agencies that may need some assistance more than the twice that have been the recent standard of the minimum number of visits. With this new instrument, hopefully we can reduce the 2 to the 1 for those agencies that are doing really well. You don't need to see us all the time. You don't need to ask all the questions all the time. And if we're going to be working with those agencies that need help, then we should direct our resources toward those agencies that may need a little assistance, very frankly. But the fact of the matter is that agencies are doing their work every single day. And we are required under the law to do the monitoring. And we are required to work with those agencies to offer technical assistance. And to be open to making sure that we get to the place that we need to be. Thus, the idea of the STAR, very frankly. Not reinventing the wheel, but just putting something together that makes it more comprehensive. And this is building off of work that has been previously done through NISCA and the work group when they were looking at the TRACS tool to try to reduce redundancies. So when we talk about a more comprehensive tool, is to capture the things that Nikki was talking about. It is not our intent to play gotcha. It is not our intent to be in your face all the time. But it is our intent to try to make sure that all the agencies get the highest score possible and to work with you in that event. So we'll continue to work with NISCA on, in terms of the trainings. You will identify hopefully the trainings that you think are necessary to make that happen moving forward. And if this does work, we'll replace the risk assessment with the STAR so that will determine the number of visits that DCS, TOS will have moving forward. That's the principle of it, very frankly. I've learned from other states that this is a trend, very frankly, emphasizing TNTA. OCS asks me all the time about the TNTA, so I think it's important that we just capture that and move forward with it. We're open to any questions, any suggestions, and I think we'll be going back to the network as this is more flushed out, very frankly, with more specifics. So we're open to any questions at this point.
Thank you, Manny. Before we open that for questions, I would just like to note for the record that Michael Martin has joined us here in Buffalo.
Oh, so he walked in. Hi, Mike. Hope
I
everything's
assume
good.
do we still not have quorum, Salem?
We don't have quorum yet, no.
All right, I assume.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, sorry for the interruption, but are there any
No.
other questions for Manny or Nikki?
Thoughts, questions? Doesn't have to be a question.
Could I just make a comment? Hey Manny, this is Michael Martin. Sorry for being
Nice to see you.
late. Good to see you as well. I just want to applaud the focus that you're saying with regards to these processes because, I deal with a lot of state agencies with my organization and, a lot of times it feels like we're doing monitoring and asking for information and it doesn't really seem to be going anywhere. It seems a matter of process, which takes critical time for especially small organizations.
Right.
Capacity, we're all limited capacity. I'm not a provider, but just as an advisory council member, I appreciate the perspective you're taking with those that are doing the work on the front lines, trying to make the impact on the lives. The more we can give capacity to them from the state agencies by reducing the burden is much appreciated. And I would hope that other state agencies take the lead that you're expressing here today.
Well, thank you. I can't speak for other state agencies, but I will tell you this, it's something that Nikki said before. The ACSI that took place a couple of years ago really was something that was an eye-opener for us because it was a message that we needed to receive, very frankly, so we embraced it. The one-on-one meetings that we have, sometimes you can't have a general discussion and get everything out, but the one-on-ones have been very educational to us because we really do want to understand how, not only can we do things better, but basically, if you're asking us to reduce, redundancies or burdens, how do we do that, very frankly? How can we do that? And then get to that point. So the idea of not having to visit more than is necessary is important. Having a database that can also reduce the ask for documents and putting things into the ready for monitoring visits or anything else that we may need for contracting, I think is also important moving forward. This is something that the network had asked in the past in their testimonies, and this is the continuing dialogue that we have. So these dialogues that we have with colleagues, very frankly, are extremely important for us, for these, DOS, And the more we have them, the more we learn, hopefully the better we can serve you. And that's really the bottom line, is us serving you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Again, hopefully we'll have this an ongoing discussion, Tina and company, and we learn. We learn. We've got some really, really good people in the network. The one thing again I want to emphasize on the database, please, is to have you open to when we ask for some technical assistance on how to make the RFP more responsive to your needs, is to have access to your IT folks, and they can, if you reach out to them or through you, make them available to us. Because I think that's the best way, very frankly, of getting to the bottom of how do we make this work. I'm not an expert by any means. I have problems with the power button, so I think it's really important that we get to the experts within the network. Thank you very much for listening to us.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have Jackie Orr from NISCA. Hi, Jackie.
Great. Hi, Tina. How are you? Can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay, good. All right. So those of you who are on the advisory council, you received my report. So for those of you who aren't, let me go over some of what I shared. Let's see. So NISCA Learn, most of you know about NISCA Learn, which is our online e-learning system that we have for community action agency staff and board members. And we've been adding information to it. So right now we have 23 interactive courses. And anytime we've done a webinar, and if we've been able to record it with permission of the presenter, we pull that into NISCA Learn too. So if folks have missed a webinar that they wanted to attend, they can listen to it through NISCA Learn. And we are going to be developing a new course for staff and board members focusing on the organizational standards, and specifically those that are harder to meet and achieve. The Academy for Understanding Economic Hardship in New York State, that's a mouthful. We had originally called it a Poverty Academy, and then we realized that probably wasn't the best language that we could use, so we changed it. And this kind of came out of our strategic planning process with the board last September. So it is going to be Academy, and we are starting to build out pieces of it. So with the emerging leaders that the group we met with in April, we kind of piloted a piece that talked about, what does poverty look like in New York, and how to define poverty. And we looked at certain regions in New York, looked at poverty in relation to housing and food insecurity and in different topic areas. So we got some good feedback from the emerging leaders. So we're now making changes in that, and we're going to be, by the end of the year, we'll have started to launch it, and we'll build on it as we go. We continue to do network-wide trainings. Recently, we did a training on the art of case note writing. That was a request from one of our agencies quite a while ago, actually, and it took us a long time to find somebody who we felt was able to do it and kind of fit into the network. We got lots of good feedback from that. We just recently did a webinar for AI for Good, empowering nonprofits to drive impact and ethical innovation. That was, fewer people attended that one, but we got good feedback from that as well. And then most recently in June, we had a webinar, Enhancing Services for the LGBTQ plus individuals and families. Fantastic feedback from that. The speaker was dynamite, and we're looking to invite them back either at our in-person conference or to do another webinar. As you all know, we continue to provide introduction to Roma trainings. They are now pretty much all virtual. We do them over 3 days, about 3 hours each day. We run them about quarterly, and the presenters are the certified Roma trainers in the network, because in order to maintain your certification, you have to do a minimum of one training a year. So this, provides opportunities for new staff to learn about Roma, and it provides opportunity for the certified Roma trainers to do the training. The ACES trainers, Manny mentioned that DOS supported that through their discretionary funds. And we continue to provide training on ACES to staff at community action agencies, again, using certified ACES trainers, near science trainers. And they also, in each of their communities, are training presenters as well. I'm happy to report that our certification, we initially had a 3-year certification through ACE Interface, and we have renewed their certification for all the ACES trainers for the next 6 years. And currently there are 16 certified trainers in New York. Our conference, we always do a professional development conference every year, and this year it's September 19th, 20th, and 21st at the Lake Ontario Conference Center in Oswego. So we are hard at work at finalizing these presenters and sessions. We've invited the Secretary of State to speak, and we're hopeful that he'll be able to join us. We have lots of sessions. I think we're all full now. We have Whipley presenting 4 sessions from storytelling to succession planning and everything in between. We have a couple folks from the University of Buffalo who are doing a session on trauma-informed leadership. We have Laura Gonzalez-Murphy from the Office of New Americans, and she's going to be doing a session on language access. We have someone from a community action agency doing volunteer engagement and retention, of which she's getting her PhD, so she's doing a dissertation, so that'll be interesting. We have a session on creating a diverse and discrimination-free workplace, one on budgeting 101. DOS staff is going to be there doing a session as well. And then we are having a community action agency innovative program panel. So for those agencies who want to share their innovative programs and services, we have a panel discussion. And there's many more, that was just a highlight. ELI, Emerging Leader Institute, as I just mentioned, they met for the first time this year in April in person. They met again for 3 half days in July, which was remote. It was all virtual. And we will meet again in person in October. So we have the 3 seminars during the course of the year, 2 in person and 1 virtual. We've been doing a variety of topics. We do, team building, implementing Roma, strategic planning. We do something about assessing your leadership style. We just did one on having difficult conversations, which turned out to be very good feedback from that. And we've done sessions on effective communication. We continue with our community action plan template group. That group is a very active group. We enjoy our time with them, and Jessica Lowell from DOS and I work with that group. Some of you may know that the group put together 8 community action plan templates for organizations to refer to as guidance documents when they're putting together their community action plan. We have 2 others in draft, and when we met with the group last week or 2 weeks ago, we decided that we wanted to do another webinar. As agencies are currently putting together their community action plans, we're going to be doing a webinar August 8th or 6th or something about the templates that we have and how to use them, how you can, refer to them. And we have 3 staff from that work group who are going to be talking about how they have used those templates in developing and changing and making modifications in their community action plans. So we did one webinar a couple years ago, so it's time to do another one. Along with our Roma trainings, we have a Roma Alliance. That's a group of all Roma professionals, both trainers and implementers. We had in-service in person, in May, I believe it was, and there were probably about 18, I think, folks attended the training. And we had Carrie Gibson, who works for the National Association of Roma Professionals. She came and did the training for us, and it was really good. We talked about, performance management and improving our agency's capacity to achieve results. And it was good to be in person and have those more engaging conversations. The CSBG State Plan Work Group, Manny mentioned that, as well as our monitoring work group. They have continued to meet, and the State Plan Work Group is meeting for the final time next week, I believe, or to look and talk about all the comments that were received during the open comment period. That group was very useful in looking at the state plan and offering feedback, and I think we met 2 or 3 times. Regional meetings. Last year we did not do regional meetings. This year we did. We held 5 in 5 different regions of the state. They were very successful. We got a lot of good feedback from those. We were very thankful and appreciative to the agencies who spent time and effort in organizing and sharing their space or getting space for us to meet. So that was an opportunity for DOS to get feedback, share information about the state plan and get feedback about it. And then we also had roundtable discussions about current community action programs and services, and really looking to talk about best practices and evidence-based practices. I did want to mention that we have our listservs, which is our affinity groups. So we have an HR affinity group, finance, and those affinity groups meet as often as they have deemed appropriate for their group. And they also have, the distribution listserv, so they can communicate outside of meetings. We did start an artificial intelligence, an AI group. Phoebe here thought it would be a good idea. We sent an email to the network about it. That we received a good number of responses, I think 28. And we wanted a wide variety of people who know a lot about AI or maybe using it, not know anything about it. And we had our first meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was very productive. We also connected through ABC, and I know Aaron Wicks is on here. Thanks to Aaron. We connected with a gentleman who's the chair of the Department of Software Engineering at RIT, who joined our group and is really interested in working with the network. He's going to be joining us at the conference and really talking about potential uses for community of AI and community action agencies, and looking at, as Phoebe says, guardrails for its implementation. So if you aren't a part of that work group and you want to be, or your staff might be interested, have them reach out to Phoebe. It is going to be great. And then I want to just wrap up with, so all those things are activities that we do under our grant with DOS, those discretionary funds that we receive. But some of the stuff we also have been doing, which is kind of more recent in my mind, is we applied several months ago for a grant through the Federal Communications Commission for their affordable connectivity program, and we received it. It just kicked off last month. We are working with 3 community action agencies: Cortland Community Action, Connecting Communities in Action in Cattaraugus County, and the Community Action Partnership for Madison County. And basically those agencies are providing outreach services to let households know about the discounts on broadband service. And there's also a discount, or you could get some money towards purchasing a device. So the agencies are doing those outreach and awareness activities so people will know about the benefits and how people sign up if they're eligible. So we're excited about that. There's a bunch of other associations across the country that got it too. So we had a meeting last week with the other associations, and we're going to bring all the agencies that received the funds together to talk about, what's kind of working and what are some good outreach activities. Yesterday, I submitted our grant for the Regional Performance and Innovation Consortia. we, as a lead association, that's with federal HHS, and it's for Federal Region 2, New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. NISC has been the lead association since 2012. So we started October 11th for federal fiscal year 12. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we are in the process of applying for the diaper demonstration grant. Some of you may have heard about that. Also an initiative through OCS at the federal level. There's already been a series of grants that have been distributed to community action associations. This is sort of the third round. So we're working with the National Diaper Bank Association, and we're working with 4 community action agencies. I'm not going to list them in case we don't get the funding, but that grant is due next week. And we are working hard at putting that together, and then we will be relieved that both grants have been submitted, and we can hopefully enjoy the rest of our summer. And that's it.
Thank you, Jackie. Before I open it for questions, I just want to say that as a member of NISCA, as an organization like so many of the rest of you that use NISCA's resources, it's just remarkable that with so few staff, you can put together so many robust training programs and resources for the network. So I thank you personally. Are there any other questions for Jackie? Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have old business, and at our meeting.
I did want to note that Maurice Reed has joined us virtually. We still do not have quorum.
Okay, thank you. Under old business, I was looking at our minutes from our last meeting in March. We were talking at that point about membership for this advisory council. We also talked about bylaws, and I think it was Laura that recommended that we look at standing meeting dates. So let's take those one at a time. Do we have any updates on the membership for this council?
Yeah, just very briefly, we've identified what the vacancies are. We are submitting one application under the governor's appointment process. I think we're about to do the second one. That would leave 2 for the executive. We've reached out, we had a conversation with one of the members on the board that needs to go back to the legislature to ask for reappointment or appointment, to make sure that that's covered. And we'll be working with the legislative offices, both on the Senate and the Assembly side, to our intergovernmental office to see if we can alert them to the vacancies and see if we can get nominations for appointment or appointments from both the Senate and the Assembly side. So it's a work in progress, very frankly, but we should have 2, and we're reaching out to see if we can get the other 2 for the at least the governor's office as well. If we get the 2, that would up the number to what? 14 then? 16? 16 members, which will help with the quorum issue. And so we thank everybody for their cooperation with that. They'll continue to alert and talk to the council as that's going forward, as that's moving forward.
Okay. Manny,
Yes.
I don't know if you can say, but are the potential appointees representing community action agencies?
One is replacing a member that was not a CAA, and the other hopefully has a very strong relationship with the CAAs. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other questions on that topic?
I have a question. This is Andrea.
Yes.
Manny, how many are required for quorum currently?
11.
Thank you.
Again, there's 2 things I want to talk about, if I can, just on the quorum piece. It would help if we could get a quorum so we can do the work that is necessary, I think, through Rob Vanderbless, our counsel, to explain how we can avail ourselves of the use of the virtual meetings to obtain quorum, but we have to do certain steps to get to that. But we need to have a quorum in order to get to that first. It's like literally the chicken and the egg type of thing. So it's important that at the next meeting we try to, and we were close, to be honest with you, for this meeting. We thought we had a quorum, and unfortunately there were some emergencies that took some people away from what we had established the quorum. So hopefully, as we develop the schedule, which we are, and I'll have Sarah speak to that. To Laura's point about establishing a calendar of meetings so that it is more certain, and then we can just work toward getting quorums for each of those meetings. So I have my fingers crossed. All right, at the next meeting we can do the steps that council needs in order for us to explain, in order for the council to move forward with the virtual meetings. You want to talk about the schedule?
Sure. I sent out a virtual poll to the advisory members. So 4 of the advisory members have responded to that for the next meeting, and that was the 5 dates in September and October. Looking at the 4th, we were looking at Thursdays at 10 a.m. and sticking with that. And if that seems good, then I can also send out a poll for 2024, and we can look at what we've done in the past, which was March. You know, if you want to tell me which months, then I can organize that virtual poll and send it out.
Thoughts on that from the members? We're required to meet at least twice, is that correct?
Twice? Yes, twice. Yes. Confirmed. We've been trying to meet more than that, but at least twice, to be honest with you. So, the point about establishing the calendar, very frankly, the responses that we get from the network on the surveys really help us to establish the calendar moving forward. So if anyone has the survey and has not responded, pretty please with ice cream on top, please respond to Sarah so that we, for the next meeting for this year, and then going into 24. It's important that we try to establish that calendar, not only for quorum, but for the work that we have to do.
Sure, thank you. Sarah, could that be resent?
Absolutely.
Oh,
All right, we'll
thanks.
resend it. Okay.
Oh, I thought Laura had something to say. Any other thoughts or comments, questions on that topic? Bylaws, I know that we have not taken a look at, I'm not sure that we have the current set of bylaws. That was one of the questions that came up at the last meeting, and we wanted to take a look at whatever revisions may be necessary.
The current ones were sent out to the council,
Okay.
yes.
So
We
if
can
you
resend
need,
them
if you
if
need
somebody-
another set sent out, we can try to send it out to everybody, but we'll resend it again to make sure everybody has it. Okay, and we can work on those changes.
Right.
Okay.
And can we put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Is there any other old business? Is there any new business?
Just the one reminder, our state plan has to be submitted by September 1st. So the meeting that we're gonna have through NISCA is really important as we go over this stuff. And again, a reminder about the start that while we mention it in the state plan, it is not necessarily going to be rolled out by October 1st as we try to work out the specifics of the tool. I just want to make sure that people are kind of clear on that aspect. But we're good otherwise. I want to thank everybody again for the help. I think we're
Thank you.
good,
Any- Anything else? All right, then we don't need a formal adjournment since we didn't have a formal meeting. So it looks as though the meeting is closed.
Okay, thank you everybody for attending. Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
See you in New York. All right, thank you, everybody. Till
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the summer.
Thank you too.